Well, Turkey's president has announced the start of a military operation in Syria aimed at ousting Bashar al-Assad. Recep Erdogan said that in ending the alleged atrocities by the country's leader is Turkey's only goal.
We have no interest in Syrian land. We are there to stop state terror and to end the rule of cruel Assad.
Well, Turkey has already intervened in Syria. In August, it focused on border areas, naming ISIL and Kurdish insurgents as its main target.
We are determined to save Turkey from the terror of the PKK by working hand in hand with our security forces and our brothers in the region, finishing the organization called Daesh in Syria, as well as disabling it in our country, as an obligation to our people. Operation Euphrates Shield is the first step to the completion of that duty.
Let's go live to Dr. Jamal Wakim, who's a professor of international relations at the Lebanese University. He joins me now to discuss this further. Thanks for joining us, Doctor. How much of a turnaround is this announcement from earlier statements, or is this just empty rhetoric?
Well, I believe that it's an empty rhetoric that Erdogan is intent on ousting al-Assad, especially that it goes way beyond his means, and especially that Bashar al-Assad not only relies on a strong army that has been able to sustain the struggle for the past 6 years, but also because he enjoys the support of strong allies like Russia and Iran, not to forget about China. So I believe that it's a void rhetoric aimed at gaining support and just in retaliation to the latest development when Syrian fighter jets targeted Turkish armies, and the Turkish army couldn't retaliate. There were soldiers killed in this air raid, Syrian air raid, on Turkish troops inside the Syrian territories, and the Turkish army couldn't retaliate. I believe that this is the main reason why he made this speech. But we need to admit that the true intention of Recep Tayyip Erdogan was first to limit the possibility of the PKK and of the Kurdish fighters in Syria to extend their zone of control west of the Euphrates on one hand, and at the same time to establish like a buffer zone in northern Syria that extends into Iraqi territories. This has been a declared intention of Turkey since 2002. So I believe that this is the true intention, and we need to hold him responsible for this part of the speech.
Just speaking in wider terms diplomatically here, relations between Russia and Turkey, they've been quite frayed over the last months, just improving very recently since that incident last November on the Syrian-Turkish border. Won't this really put the two very much at loggerheads? How is this going to affect their relations now?
Well, I believe that there were attempts by the Russians mainly to get close to Turkey, especially that the developments in Iraq and Syria damaged Turkey's national security. However, Erdogan couldn't detach himself of his obligations towards the West and towards the United States mainly. And he, after his intervention in northern Syria, he played into the American plan by establishing a northern area that is not under the control of the Syrian army. So the Americans, through their support of the Kurds in eastern Syria, they were able to prevent the Syrian army from spreading his control so far into that area. And at the same time, by playing the Turkish card in another part of northern Syria, they are solidifying their control through their proxies in that area at a time when the United States is trying to establish control over parts of western Iraq and eastern Syria. So this is why after a relative improvement of relations between Turkey and Russia, we see that the Russians now are not that satisfied with the course of events with Turkey, and the Syrian air raid on Turkish troops couldn't have happened had it not been for the support by Russia itself. So I believe that we need to observe the developments because I believe that it might erupt into a more tense situation in the near future.
Indeed. Okay, Dr. Jamal Wakim, Professor of International Relations at the Lebanese University. Thank you for your insight today here on RT Insight.